Welcome everybody, this is Linda, and I'm really excited to get started on some of these different patterns. I'm going to be making them in a series for the next several months for you guys, so you can get some feel of how you can use and adapt the patterns that I'm creating. And for those of you who are interested, these are available on my Etsy shop. Okay, this is a very simple one, and it prints out on a full sheet of printer paper, and I like that size because it gives a really good dimensional, about an 8 by 8. And so if I wanted to frame this, it would be a really nice size. It's also a nice size to work with, and so I like that. So what I did was I printed, this is one of the three options in the A16 pattern, and I printed it out, and then I traced it on a piece of white sheeting fabric. Now I did buy this fabric in a thrift store. It was just a white sheet, and it didn't look like it had been used, but anyway, I brought it home and washed it, and I cut it up, and it makes a really great embroidery or slow stitching background. Then I put it on a piece of batting. I like to work with batting when I'm doing my stitching. So you can see that I've pencil traced this pattern onto this piece of sheeting. The pattern showed through the sheeting very well. I don't know if I can show you that, but you can see the pattern really well through the sheeting. So this it's not a really expensive thick weaved sheet, you know, it's not so but anyway, something that you can see through. Or if you have tracing paper, then you can put the fabric down, then the tracing paper, and then your pattern, and then trace, and the tracing paper will leave that pattern on your fabric. Now, what I'm going to play with on this very first one is I'm going to do some watercolor first, and I'm going to do it on top of my batting. And I haven't done that before, but I'll try it this time because I'm okay if it bleeds out a little, because it gives it a little bit of a watercolor look when it does that. So let's just play a little bit. I have a palette here with some dry watercolor in it, and I'm just going to play around here a little bit with this. Give me a little bit of water and color. And I'm just gonna give my little bird a throat area. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm okay with the bleed out because it gives it even more of a watercolor look, and I'm okay with that. I'm experimenting with this with you guys so you can see what happens in case you want to try some of this yourself. I'm going to try putting a little bit of this down in here around the feather lines there, just to bring that color down a little bit. Okay. I'm going to bring a little bit of a blue over at this point, and see if I can bleed a little bit of that in there with it. Okay. All right. Now I'm not trying to do the whole area, the whole bird. I'm not trying to do that. Okay, I'm just trying to get little color splashes that will enhance my stitching and the fabrics that I choose to use. Okay, all right. Sometimes just playing and experimenting, or if you get a little tired of just plain stitching sometimes, try experimenting and put the adventure back into your stitching, and I guarantee you'll get the bug all over again, and you'll just have to start playing with it again. Okay, all right. Okay, let's try a little bit of different colors. You know, you won't know what you like till you try it. Okay, all right. All right, that's just, you know, for my first time doing this, I think I'm going to leave it there. Just enough, okay? Now let's go with a little bit of a green here, and we got some green stems. Okay, all right, that looks good. Let's take a little bit of that green, mix it with a little bit of this other green, get a different let's see, get a different look to this leaf down here. I like that. Let's look at the pattern. There seems to be basically 3 leaves, I would say, something like that. Put a little color in there. Add just a little water just to make it spread a little bit more. Same way up into here. Now I may be covering that completely, some of this with what am I trying to say? With fabric. Gee whiz, that was really hard. Let's get a little brown going on here. Okay, I'm just using some of my old colors. You know, you don't, watercolors dry up, but all you have to do is wet them down and they're all usable again. Okay, the flowers I'm believing I'm gonna do with all fabric, so I'm just going to not do that. Okay, we're going to get that a little bit, a little leafy here, a little bit more water in there. Give that a okay. All right, what do we got here? It's okay to blend, you know, to mix your colors when you're working on things. You have the option of coming back in here with fabric or thread, and you can cover and change and adapt a lot of stuff that way. Okay, let's get okay, and we want to make some tonal statements. We want some darks and some lights so that we have definition. Okay, again, we may just cover all this up with thread, I don't know, or fabric, but the point is, I want to see what this does, and if I want to play with it again, like that. Okay, let's call that done. I'm not going to do any on the outside. I'm going to do all that with thread. So we are done with the watercolor clay at this point. And get my water and brush out of my way here. Okay, now I need to let that dry, and then I'll be back and we'll start stitching. Okay, I have finished my watercolor and let it dry, and now I'm starting my stitching around the outer edges. And let me bring you up a little closer so you can see this stitching. This is the outer border that has all the lines sketched into it, okay? Now what I want to do with this is simulate growth, greenery around this bird sitting on this limb and with a flower. And so what I'm doing is I'm using ribbon, okay? You can see where I've done ribbon along the edges. Then I'm coming back with 3 shades of embroidery floss and doing some stitching in there. Now, right now the stitches that I'm working with are pistol stitches and straight stitches on the embroidery floss, okay? But let me show you what I'm doing with the little, you know, I forgot to get the size of this, but you can see the width of that is very small. It just goes through the eye of my needle, okay? And I'm working this direction, and I'm trying to space it out in a reasonable fashion that makes sense. So where I can get plenty of room for the other colors to work in well without it looking too much of a pattern. You don't want to look like everything was spaced at 3 inches and then 2 inches and then 1 inch. You don't want that. You want things to work like they would look in nature, and so kind of randomly. Now, this is just as simple as pie, because you just pull that up, and you know, I'm not a ribbon artist, so I don't know what these stitches are called, but pull it up and then run it up to the heights you want, and then put your needle back down through the center of the ribbon. And I always hold this end. That helps the ribbon to stay in place. And then just gently pull it through. And when you're working with ribbon, always be very gentle with it. Okay. Now, I don't straighten out the end of this. I just let it pull in and do whatever it wants to do, crinkled or whatever. Okay. But I leave it a little puffy at the end. Okay. If you pull it too tight, you get a look like this. So I'm going to have to come back and put something in there. But when you do it right, you get the little nubbies at the end. Okay. So let's put another one in there. Pretty close to it, a short one. Okay. Pull this up, and without bringing it too tight, because if we yank it too tight, we'll pull out this little bit here. Then we put it in, put our needle back down through the center, hold on to that end, and pull the ribbon through. Again, I don't straighten out my ribbon, but you can. But I don't, because I like whatever it is to be just whatever it is. Okay. All right. I'm going to do a double one here on this long one. I'm going to go about halfway up this stem that I've got marked. Then I'm going to tuck my needle right under that little end part, bring it up again, and go out to the end of the mark and go down again. And that makes a double right there. Okay. Let's come over a ways. Also, you notice that I have changed the tone or color of my ribbon, and I'm going to be doing that as I work around, just to give it variations of green colors. You see, this is a darker shade of ribbon than the shade next to it. Okay. One was this color, one was this color. Okay. All right, let's pull that up. All right, I will continue to work this around the bottom edge until I get through with this ribbon here. Then I'll come back with my embroidery floss and start working in between each of these, okay? All right. I might change my mind. I might take this darker color and work a little bit of it up through there. I think I will do that. Let's just go back over here. And let's lay one right in next to that other one. Okay. And pull it, let's kind of pull it up and over that other one just a little bit. You can make, the way you lay these, you can make it appear like one is tucked under another. Kind of like that one looks like it's tucked under this one because I angled this one just a little bit. You can make your stitches also look like they're coming under things or out of things. Like this one looks like it's going, because I ended it, I tucked it under the ribbon when I ended it, so that would be making it look more like things look in nature. Things don't all grow perfectly straight. Everything isn't the same height. Okay. I'm going to do a short one right there. Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working the ribbon along here, coming back with these two colors of embroidery floss, 3 strands is what I'm working with there, and filling in there. And then I'll be back.